Welcome. This is going to be a preview of Game Week 2 in FPL. Chelsea still have to play for Game Week 1. They play against Brighton away on the Monday. But yeah, I've got two players from Chelsea and I'm hoping that they can do something there. But yeah, I'm going to analyse my team quickly and discuss my thoughts on some of the players who've done well and who've done poorly, and how I'm thinking of going in the future, and also a few like tips from my experiences last year. And yeah, because I think it's very important not to overreact at this stage. It's very early days. I've got 55 points so far. Not the greatest, but I'll take that. I had Salah who got a hat trick, so that's pretty good. But then these little calls obviously can make a big difference in terms of how many points you accumulate. So I'll discuss that now. Firstly, McCarthy. I watched a bit of the Southampton game, and yeah, they didn't look very good. They still had chances to score with Ings and Che Adams. But yeah, I think Palace deserved the win, and yeah, McCarthy and Southampton's defence, they got unlocked quite a few times. Zaha was causing them all sorts of problems, but overall, it is very early to judge. But of course, these thoughts cross your mind. Are like, is Southampton going to have a good season like last season? Are they maybe going to dip a bit? People find them out a bit more, and maybe Ings is not going to score as much. Obviously, these thoughts do cross your mind, but it is one game, so I would say give it a bit more time, and especially with keepers, you don't want to be chopping and changing pretty much unless you're doing a wild card. But I would also advise not using that unless you absolutely have to. But yeah, with the fixtures going forward, as I'll discuss with Tottenham, I've got two of their players. They've got Tottenham next, and they can do something. They can either get a clean sheet or score some goals against them, because they looked really poor, as I'll discuss soon. Then Burnley away and West Brom at home. And of course, after that, a few tricky fixtures here with Chelsea away and maybe Everton at home could be. But either way, don't look too much on, is a fixture green, grey or red. Sometimes the fixtures where you expect them to do poorly in, they do really well. And in the fixtures that you expect them to do really well in, they don't do the good. So yeah, with McCarthy, I'd definitely advise a bit more patience. But Southampton's defence, not very good. But then again, with a 4.5 million keeper, maybe with Martinez now going to Aston Villa, and if they have a more assured defence, maybe he was a better option. But too early to judge, as with most players. But yeah, of course, I've got a few doubts with Southampton. No, I'm definitely not going to deny that. And in terms of the defence, very happy with Justin. He's the only defender who produced so far. Hopefully, Rhys James does too. And the thing with Justin is that he's got Burnley at home. He could do something there, but then Man City away, yeah, you're definitely not expecting much. But then some good fixtures after that: West Ham at home and Villa at home, back to back, before two away trips to Arsenal and Leeds, which should be very tough, and Wolves at home. So the thing with Justin is that he actually did very well. He got an assist, and even before he got the assist, he got a pre-assist for one of the goals. So yeah, with Justin, of course, with 4.5 million, you can't go wrong there, but you have to take into account that Castagne, very good debut. He scored on his debut, and he played at left back. So when Ricardo Pereira comes back, I don't really think Justin has a spot in the team as much as he's playing well, because Pereira is, in my opinion, one of the best right backs in the league, full stop. So it's very hard to displace him. And with Castagne, they put quite a bit of money into him. I don't think he's going to be dropped. But Justin, for the foreseeable future, very good option. I'm a bit not upset. I'm a bit maybe disappointed that he's not going to be a long-term asset, because if he is, then he could be just a great way into Leicester's defence, just like Soyuncu was last year. But yeah, just can't expect too much. And also, bear in mind, it is West Brom away. It's their first game back in the Premier League, and yeah, West Brom, in terms of quality, they probably have the least, because the only player that really stands out to me from them is Pereira. So yeah, I'm not too surprised that Leicester won 3-0. I was expecting like a 2-0 win anyway. But yeah, two penalties definitely helped, and Justin played a part, so very happy with him. Now with Trent, I have to say, it is his first game back from injury, but he got absolutely ripped in that game, and defensively he was shocking, and for one of the goals, yeah, he just got blitzed. But Trent, he always has that assist potential. He's taking all the set pieces. You can never undermine that. But there is a fair argument to say that maybe Robertson is the better option, because that 500,000 saves you money in other areas, and Robertson gets a very similar amount of points. He also gets a lot of assists. He got an assist against Leeds. Trent didn't do anything, so 1 point, because they conceded 3 goals. And to be fair, I think even though Leeds only had 3 shots, and in that regard, Liverpool were unlucky to concede 3 goals because, there's a 1 in 200 chance that happens. But Liverpool's defence still looked shaky, and Leeds could have scored more because Bamford had a chance before he eventually scored. And yeah, they did unlock them quite a few times, and they scored different types of goals. And 2 penalties for Liverpool was very fortunate, to be honest. And I think Leeds still deserved a result there. So Liverpool definitely have to up their game because they just don't look at it. But Chelsea away next, then Arsenal at home, and then some decent fixtures, even though Everton away could be tough. Yeah, on paper, not the greatest to have someone who's 7.5 million a defender. But remember, Trent can do well in all of these games. Against Leicester away, when Leicester were second in the Premier League last season, remember what Trent did. He got a hat-trick of assists, I'm pretty sure, and he got a goal. And he was pretty much man of the match. He was just unplayable that day. So that's the threat that Arnold poses. And whenever I consider getting Trent out, and whenever I actually get him out, he does well. So that's something that is always like in the back of my mind when I'm thinking about Trent. But it's just one game. I think he'll do better. But in the future, Robertson could be a better option. Now with Davies, I'll be honest, having a Spurs defender is probably a really bad decision. If you look how many clean sheets they got last season, I think 7 or 8. Very poor. They did get at least nearly half of their clean sheets in the last few weeks of the season since Project Restart. But the reason why I brought him in is because I wanted Saïss, and I looked at it and thought, nah, Saïss has got Man City away pretty much in the second game week, and Sheffield away. Oh no, sorry, they got Man City at home in the second game week, but they've got Sheffield away first as well. So it's not necessarily the easiest start. And on paper, you'd think Everton at home, Southampton away, Newcastle at home. That's a good start. But yeah, with Spurs' defence, I know it's only one game, but you can't really trust them. And even if Davies gets an assist here and there, he's not going to get too many, most likely, and not too many clean sheets. Really, I want to get Saïss in, or maybe a Man United defender like Lindelof or Luke Shaw. But yeah, would have been better off with someone like Gabriel from Arsenal, who got 12 points or something like that. So yeah, Davies, very disappointing, but on the other side, I'm very happy because, didn't want Tottenham to win. But of course, with Davies, not really going to expect much here. And he's definitely one of the players I want to get rid of straight away. Now, Rhys James, a lot is dependent on what happens today. Because if he doesn't play, that's an even bigger concern than Davies, because you'd rather collect 2 points on a regular basis, or 1 than 0. But I think Rhys James should be playing a lot of minutes this season, and he's going to be the attacking outlet from their defence. Azpilicueta will probably slot in at centre-back at times, and if you think about it, they don't have Thiago Silva and all of these players still out to injury, Chilwell as well. So I think Rhys James should have a spot in the team, because at left-back they could play Alonso, they could play Azpilicueta at left-back like he used to back in the day. So there's options there for Azpilicueta to play in different positions, and I think Rhys James should be playing at right-back, but there's no guarantee. I think if he plays consistently and Chelsea's defence is more assured than last season, I think Rhys James could be one of the bargains of the season, as I said in my last video. But Brighton away first, and then Liverpool at home. That might look like a very tricky fixture, because it is, but he can still maybe get an assist there. You saw how Liverpool's defence was in the last game. Even though they were unlucky to concede 3, they were still very shaky throughout the game. So you got to take that into account. Then West Brom away and Palace at home. I think Rhys James could be doing very well over the first few games of the season. But that's pretty much my defence. Now, what I really regret here is having Mitchell on the bench with 6 points. So really, unless Rhys James doesn't play, or Werner, yeah, Rhys James, hopefully he gets a clean sheet, because Mitchell's 6 points, of course, would make a difference. But these things happen. I did not expect Palace to keep a clean sheet against Southampton, if I'm being honest. I expected Southampton to win. But, you can't predict everything. In terms of the midfield, Son, very disappointing. Spurs just look really bad. They still could have scored a few goals, and Son would have been a part of that. But I don't know. I think Spurs' attack looked lazy. Even Mourinho called them out for that. They didn't have the intensity and the pressing. And I don't know, like with Spurs, even if they click and Kane and Son are a part of the goals, Spurs aren't a team to score more than 2 goals per game. And it's very early to tell. They're playing a good side in Everton, who all of their new signings pretty much gelled quickly. But yeah, Spurs just look so off it, and if that's a sign of things to come this season, then yeah, you want to stay away from Spurs assets. But I will say, in terms of players from Spurs, Son is still one of the best to own, if not the best value option. So I would still maybe give it another game or two, but he's someone I am considering maybe getting a Havertz in, for example, depending on how today goes, or a Pulisic, or maybe even a Rashford. It really does depend, but Spurs are one of those teams where they might have that 1 or 2 games where they score 3+ goals, but consistently over the season, they're not that type of team. And Son, he might get a goal and assist here and there. He is fairly consistent himself, but Spurs' attack is just very limited, in my opinion. They need that creativity, that maybe that Cam who can create chances like they used to have with Eriksen. They don't have that anymore. And their midfield is just really poor. You look at Winks, all of these players, they have Sissoko, they just have no creativity, no ball carrying ability like that. Someone who can help connect the midfield and attack. So there's going to be problems there, I think, at Spurs. Of course, it's too early to judge with everyone, but think about it. I think Spurs, they're not. I don't think they're a top 4 team. They might end up being, but in my opinion, I don't see them being top 4. They're going to have a lot of games like this where they struggle, even against these smaller teams. You could say maybe a newly promoted side or whatever, or a Brighton. They could really struggle. So yeah, with Spurs, that first game, it told me a lot, but still, it's one small sample size. Then you look at Aubameyang, happy with the captaincy choice he scored. It looked like he wasn't going to score, but got a great goal. He had a good performance overall, so pretty happy with that. He got the clean sheet point. But I have to say, some tough fixtures after West Ham at home, who I will be captaining him for, as I will go into soon. But this fixture run here, even though I think Aubameyang can score in all of them and Arsenal can win even most of the games, he's not probably going to score multiple goals in each one, so there could be better captain options elsewhere. And speaking of better captain options, Salah. It is a big shame because literally this decision of captaining Alba instead of Salah, that's 13 points. You add Mitchell, that's 6 points, that's 19 points lost, but you can't gain all the points possible, even from the team you have. So there's going to be some decisions you get right and some you get wrong, but either way, I'm happy I captained Alba instead of someone like Son, for example, or Ings, who did nothing. So you've got to take the positives from that, but Salah on the opening day, he always produces, and he got a hat-trick this time. Very fortunate to get the 2 penalties, because otherwise he literally scored 1 goal, which was a really good finish, and that changes the complexion of his score. But Salah's a very good player, and the reason why I opted for Salah this season, and last season I was more of a Mane guy, is because of the price. Salah and Mane are both 12 million, and Salah has the penalties in his advantage, and as demonstrated on Saturday, that pretty much boosted his score by a lot. And Mane, meanwhile, there are games where he misses a lot of chances. So with Salah, I think the penalties and the same price is the difference maker. That's what can make him score more points, and I think he will score more points than Mane again, but it will be even, as it always is. They'll both get like 200 plus points, but I think just the penalties is enough reason to go with Salah. But if you have Mane, I wouldn't, just in my opinion, this is from experience, do not switch, because what I did last season, after Salah blanked in the second game week against Southampton away, I believe, I got in Mane, and they had Arsenal next, and guess what happened? Salah got 2 goals against Arsenal, he got like 15 points, Mane did nothing, he got like 2 points. So that's why you need to not like chase points and just be like, oh, who's the more informed player, and go for them, because no one is going to produce every week. Not even Ronaldo, Messi, or the greatest players of all time will produce every single week. There are going to be some off days, even for the greatest. So yeah, in my opinion, don't tinker too much. If you want to have Salah at one point, then do it, but stick to it. Just if you're going to make a transfer between the two, stick to them. Don't be hot-headed and make these transfers, because as I've experienced, you can lose on a lot of points, and you're not going to be happy. Say Maximin, he's someone I've never really been sure of, to be honest, and he had a good performance against West Ham, but he's not the type of player to get a lot of goals and assists. So yeah, I'm happy you got the clean sheet point. You've got to take the positives from it. Newcastle were good, but then again, West Ham were really awful, and I expected better from West Ham, even though a lot of people are tipping them for relegation. But yeah, Saint Maximin, he's a 5.5 million midfielder. You're not going to expect too much from him. He's not going to be getting goals and assists every week. If you look at his stats last season, he got 3 goals, 5 assists, which is decent for someone playing in a struggling Newcastle side, but it's not someone you want in an FPL team. But I have him because you can't have everyone you want. And Brighton at home next, I'm hoping he does something. But yeah, he's not someone I'm looking to have long term, if I'm honest. And it would have been great if he got an assist or goal, but yeah, one thing I will say is that maybe with Fraser going into the team and having Wilson up front and say Maximin on the right or Almiron on the right, and they kind of switch between Cam and right mid, maybe that will kind of bring the best out of say Maximin in terms of goal output. But yeah, don't expect too much. He is playing for Newcastle, who they might have a decent season, but they're not going to score too many goals. And say Maximin isn't a consistent scorer or assister, but he's a very good player. So that's how it's looking. Danny Ings, it's too early to tell, but even when I brought him in for last week, I did say, wow, look at this, it's saying no fixtures, that's a bit stupid. But yeah, with Danny Ings, I was thinking maybe last season, I wouldn't say a one-off season, but maybe he's not going to be anywhere near the 22 goals he got last season or whatever he got, or 21 goals. But I still expect him to score between 10 and 15 goals. Southampton had an off day against Palace, it has to be said. But they play Tottenham at home next, and Tottenham were really poor. Defensively and offensively, the whole team was just a shambles. But both teams lost, Southampton and Tottenham. Both will want to have a reaction. And Danny Ings did really well the last time he played Tottenham. He scored that amazing goal at St Mary's. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But yeah, I wouldn't be too worried yet. If he goes 3-4 games, like if he goes through all of these fixtures and he's doing poor, then I would say, yeah, definitely get rid. But you got to give him time. And having said give everyone time, one transfer I am considering is regarding Danny Ings, but it's mainly to do because the other option is very good as well, and he's got great fixtures too. But I'll discuss that soon. And then Werner, we'll see how he does against Brighton. I expect him to do very well. Hopefully that ear infection thing he has doesn't detract too many points from him, and he can play most games, because that'd be a bit of a shame if you got Werner, he's doing well, and then all of a sudden he's not playing a game because of something like that. But with Werner, I'm expecting him to be consistent. He's maybe not going to score every single week, and he is new to the league, but I expect him to be the main source of goals for Chelsea, and a big part of Chelsea's successes this season. Basuma, he's really just going to be on the bench. Davies is just there, third substitute. And Steer and Nyland really aren't going to be valid options because Martinez is actually going to be the keeper. But what you could do is, if you get Martinez in, or if you have him already, and you've got Steer, you can rotate between them. So if one doesn't play, the other one does. But yeah, he's literally just a placeholder in the team. Now, how my team is looking for next week, pretty much the exact same at the moment, but there is one transfer I'm thinking of making, and that is Danny Ings out for Calvert Lewin. But there are multiple changes that I'm thinking of making, and I've already had this in my mind. So like, what happens if this player's just not cutting it or whatever? I've kind of had a thought for every single player there, except maybe the Salahs, Trents, and Albers, but that's quite easily rectified. And yeah, Calvert Lewin, I think, because of how good Everton looked, with James Rodríguez pulling the strings, their midfield being compact and allowing James to get the best out of himself and to be further forward and create these chances. He created 5 chances against Spurs, which was a very good performance. Then you've got Richarlison as well, who's very greedy, and he's very, very poor finisher and inconsistent, but he's still got a good relationship with Calvert Lewin. And if you look at Everton's fixtures, they are a blast. They've got West Brom at home, Palace away, and then Brighton at home before they have Liverpool at home. But Calvert-Lewin can do something in all of those games. The one thing that really put me off Calvert-Lewin, if I'm being honest, because he's someone I seriously considered, is that they had Tottenham away first, and Mourinho has a great record on opening day. And also I expected Tottenham to still win. Everton's signings still a bit more time to gel. And also Calvert-Lewin went like 8-9 games last season, in the last few games of the season, pretty much not scoring or doing anything. So he was a really bad player to have. But he's a young player. He still needs a bit more time to find that consistency. But yeah, if he manages to carry on from where he started before Project Restart, I think Calvert-Lewin at 7 million is a very good value for money. That is what value for money looks like. But in terms of captaincy, like I discussed, Aubameyang would be my captain. Everyone else would be the exact same pretty much. And I know James against Liverpool at home, maybe not ideal, but you're not going to have great fixtures every week, even for your top players. And he might still produce. That's the thing. And I've got Mitchell on the bench, but this time against United, I mean, I'd be shocked if they kept a clean sheet. Last season they did win. They won 2-1 at Old Trafford, but you wouldn't expect Mitchell to get points really. But you never know. He did against Southampton. But yeah, apart from Aubameyang, I don't know. Like vice captaincy, maybe it's just on Salah, because or maybe Danny Ings actually, but. There's not too many options here. Werner, Ings and Salah would be my vice captains, but I think Aubameyang at home, Arsenal are looking pretty decent at the moment. West Ham are looking pretty poor. I think it all adds up for an Aubameyang captaincy. I got it wrong last week technically, even though I got some points, but yeah, I think this week it should be the right one. But we'll have to wait and see with that one. But that's how my team is looking, and let me know what you would change, because I will be honest. Someone like Davies, I'd want to get Saïss in. Son, if Spurs still look really poor up front. Maybe someone like Havertz, Pulisic, Rashford in. There's a lot of options you can go with. Even James Rodríguez. And then, yeah, Ings to Calvert Lewin. And that will free up funds for my fourth midfielder. I can get, say, Maximin. And then even upgrade him to a James Rodríguez or a Greenwood. There's a lot of options I can go with. But I think overall, apart from those players, I'm pretty happy with everyone else. These three players are really just going to be bench fodder, and Justin is a good option for the short term. And Trent, even though Robertson might be the better value option, yeah, he's still going to get a lot of assists and goals, you'd reckon, and some clean sheets along the way. Liverpool aren't going to concede 3 goals from 3 shots every single week, even if Trent has a stinker like he did the other day. But yeah, let me know what you would change from my team and what you think is good from my team. And I'd like also to discuss your teams down in the comment section below. But yeah, like I said, do not be reactionary. It's early days. Last season, I started off with 85 points in the first week. Then I got 40 the week after. And then I wildcarded. That is really stupid. Don't do that. Because once you stick to a team, even if it's not performing that well, but you're consistently getting 50 to 70 points, that's better than just chopping and changing, getting 40 points one week, 80 points the other week. It's better to have some consistency there. So yeah, just early days. Don't worry too much about it. But of course, no one's team is perfect. Otherwise, there'd be no point even making videos or even chopping and changing. You just leave it and that's it. Bye. Bye-bye. Just go to the beach. But no, it's all fine. Early days, 37 more game weeks to go, and there's still Chelsea to play here. And that could make a big difference in terms of rank. I'm around 1.1 million right now. That's fine. Really being in the top 3 million so far is good. And it's not about game week ranks anyway. It's about consistency. And the way to get consistency is sticking to a consistent team. But thank you for watching this video. Subscribe if you're new, and share this video with your friends and family, and give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate the support. And more videos to come from FPL. Different types of videos to come soon, and I will let you guys know. But thank you for watching.